It's time for Straight on the Point with Jesse T. from some undisclosed location somewhere in the world. Now, ladies and gentlemen, here's Jesse T.
Well, good to be back with you. The Brown Beauty is back on duty. This is the Jesse T Show. Hopefully we're sounded in nice and clear here on thepowerofvoices.com. Good to have you along with me. Jesse T, it's kicking off a brand new week here in Southern California as we approach closer and closer to Christmas. We're only counting the days away right now. It is the 11th of December and 2017. So we're looking forward to counting those days away to the big holiday on the 25th of December. Thank goodness that we are saying Merry Christmas to everybody now instead of Happy Holidays. I never quite understood that one. Who cares about whether the holidays are happy? I want to have a Christmas that's merry. That's right. And I'll take a Christmas that's Julie and Debbie and Cindy and Rebecca and Anjani. Hey, why not? It kind of rhymes a little bit better than that, right? I bet you take a Christmas that's John, Bill, or Mark. Oh, man. Yes, Jesse T starting off right. It's time for the Real Estate Show. Every Monday here in Southern California, we do the Jesse T Show, but we call it the Real Estate Corner, where I talk mostly about real estate and loans, and I interject all those other flavorful things in there. You never know what I'm going to come up with. That's me, the Brown Beauty, on duty on the air and everywhere from the community to the world. Good to have you along. Kicking off first off and saying hi to some folks who have us along. Of course, you know as well as I do that I cannot see the Instagram guys because they're so itty-bitty small in print. So I got to get the Sherlock Holmes eyepiece out, which is 100 years old. This has been handed down in my family for over 100 years. It is beautiful, and of course 35 years ago I got it, and I broke the glass because it fell out, but I put it back in because you can't replace this beautiful magnifying glass anyhow. So let's see who's chiming in on Instagram Live. Annual Deck the Halls. Annual Deck the Halls has joined us. Also, the Kids Stay Sin Hip Hop, all right, and Anna Kim Bandol. I think I got that right. It seems like the Facebook guys are a lot easier to say their name. Deborah McMillan, Gwen Legay. Hey, Gwen, how you doing? Good to have you along. I've invited you many times down on the show to talk about your great products. You are welcome to come in. Just have to book something in with me, but we'd love to have you participate in the show. Of course, she has eruption products, which are just terrific. You might want to go to her website. Saying hi to Paul Robinson. Thanks a lot, Paul, for having us on. And Becky Romero. Yes, Becky Romero. I love to roll those R's. Mark Morales and Eric Lindholm are having us on, too. And Ben Davies, as well as Dean Olson. I wonder if he's part of the Olson twins. Of course, you know who those people were. They're billionaire young ladies in their 30s now. Woo, baby. I bet they could buy some real estate, don't you think? Yeah, real estate is what it's all about. If you're looking to become a wealthy elite globalist, you do want to get involved in the real estate business. If you do have some money to throw around, you might want to buy some Bitcoins. Wow, Bitcoins are going crazy, aren't they? I mean, they just came out in the Chicago Stock Exchange on Sunday, and they have exploded. They came out trading at $2,000 a coin, and earlier this afternoon, it was something like $18,000 a coin. My goodness, Bitcoins are really happening as they try to go more of a regular use of income. About 10 years ago, I remember, maybe about 7, there was a guy that did Bitcoins, and he bought a house in Canada with Bitcoins. Wonder how that guy is doing in terms of that. But he bought a house in Canada with Bitcoins. See, that's kind of happening. That's what's going to be taking place here very, very soon. We're going to start seeing Bitcoins kind of cross over, especially with the generation of folks that really want to be anti-elite, anti-global, banking industry. And I can certainly appreciate that because those bankers, They seem to always take our money and give us very little, but make a whole bunch of money, and but yet don't share the wealth. Isn't that something? Just amazing how that is. Well, that all started back in the Federal Reserve. We're going to talk a little bit about that because that's going to lead us into hard money financing today. And in the real estate business, hard money financing is a very important item. It was regulated much more heavy a couple of years ago, but nevertheless, so I'm doing a couple of hard money loans right now for clients, and it's really helping their situations out. They're a bit tough and strict and harsh on the terms, but sometimes when we need that money, we have to get it the hard way. And I'm not talking about, it's Guido down on the street there, I'm not talking about that guy. Hey, saying hi to Angelo who has us on. Thanks a lot, Angelo. We're going to talk about hard money here in a second. First, I want to talk about the fiat financial money system. And I think that's real important because a lot of people don't learn this in high school and college. Our country, and for the most part, every nation in the world today, with the exception of just two, and that is Iran and North Korea, run themselves on what's called a fiat financial system. It's a fiat marketing and economic system. And essentially what it does, it gives one entity in the country the ability to print money up at their whim and fancy. Now, I'm not going to get all involved here on all the aspects of it because it would take at least a whole show on that. And I didn't want to talk about that completely and its entirety today. But the fiat financial system is what the Federal Reserve runs off of. You see, before 1913 and 1917, America did not have a Tax Reform Act at all. In fact, the wealthy Americans were the only ones that paid taxes before 1913. Now, if you didn't know that, and you think that wealthy Americans don't pay enough tax, the wealthy Americans and the people that make a lot of money in this country pay 45 to 55% of all the tax in this country. Just that group or more, and that percentage may be even higher. Saying hi to Jesse Andrew Torrero. All right, Jesse Andrew Torrero. Jet is in the house, and that's my son. And we're going to talk about the glorious Spartan race that we ran this weekend on Saturday. Sparta! Yarr! Yeah, it was great. We'll talk a little bit about that. And Jesse Andrew Torrero, who's an elite Spartan racer, just kind of hung out with me in the race and helped me out. I had like my personal trainer with me running alongside, so that was kind of cool. We're going to chat about that in just a second. Maybe a little bit later on in the show. Tell you a little bit about Sparta. Whew. Yeah, man, I'll tell you, one of the funnest things I've ever done in my lifetime. And I've done a lot of fun things. But that was on my bucket list. Number one on my bucket list to break off and do. There's a reason for that, and I'll let you know about it a little bit later. But anyhow, prior to 1913, a lot of people don't know that only wealthy Americans paid taxes. That was it. And what happened was that the globalist, many of us believe in the conspiratory world, if you want to call us conspiratorists, conspirators, conspiracy people, which we really aren't because most of the conspiracies are rooted out of some sort of truth. Think about that. Every cliche you've ever met in life, or heard in life, or said in life, really roots from something that's very truthful. Well, let me give you an idea. Have you heard of the concept raining cats and dogs? Well, that actually came out of something that really happened. And this is what it was. When it was raining cats and dogs in Old English, oh yes, Old English, when it was raining cats and dogs, yes, in the English side, yeah, like Yorkshire, right? When it was raining cats and dogs, the houses were made out of basically very small timber because they didn't want to use a lot of wood because wood was a fuel that cooked fire. Wood was a fuel that did everything. So they made a lot of, lean-to houses into sides of buildings against trees as such, but they covered the house roofs with thatches. And a thatch is a very thick branch. And they layered them like this, 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 so that the water wouldn't penetrate. Sort of if you looked at a lot of palm trees and you layered those things like that, right? So the water wouldn't penetrate and it would keep some sort of insulation. Well, what would happen is because there were animals outside and they didn't have, the pest control services that came down the road in the middle of the night to clear out the cockroaches and the rats and the mice and all that stuff. What would happen is the critters from the outside would end up sleeping in the thatch. That's right, the rats and the possums and the gophers and the mice and all the little animals would end up sleeping in the thatch and making their nests. Birds did that too, squirrels, everything. Saying hi to James Quinn. Michelangelo's on. Yes, the producer of Redemption Process, and he only needs $4,000 to make it happen. That's right, but you got to give me at least, Michelangelo, at least 20% take on that. So he needs $5,000 because I need a G note. Thank you very much. Hey, Michelangelo, check it out. Redemption Process. He's about ready to go full bore ahead. You can become part of his hot film. So just always like to push our buddies here. And of course, Michelangelo on Roundup. Wound up the crew, baby. Yeah. Nancy Thompson Keffer is checking in too. Hey, thanks, Lon. Don Yosef is checking in. We're talking real estate in the real estate corner today. And we're talking about hard money lending and how to get hard money, how to get money. But first we need to talk about how money is created. And so we're kind of talking about the fiat financial system and how money is created. So before 1913, there were no taxes at all. Only the wealthy paid taxes. And as you understand, we were talking about cliches. And the reason I brought that up, because we think today that things take place because they've always taken place, and they really don't. And so what we're talking about is the cliche that only wealthy Americans pay taxes. Well, they do. They pay most of them. And the rest of us pay way too much. That's really something that's not absolutely true when you start looking at the dollar signs. But back in 1913, the great man, if you want to call him, J.P. Morgan Chase, I think he's a traitorous Rothschild, anti-American, communist, socialist, rip off everybody that he can and put money in my pocket kind of guy. Became one of the wealthiest men in the world at the time. That's J.P. Morgan. So what they did is they created this fiat financial marketing system where they can make stuff happen just out of the blue. Let me finish my story about thatch and it's raining cats and dogs. So the mice and the birds and all these rats would be in the thatch of these old homes in England in the 15th century. And what would happen is when it would rain, the thatch became very slippery. And the cats lived up there too. And the little dogs would live up there too because the thatch was very strong and it was an insulation in the cold temperatures of the English countryside. Because in England, Scotland, Wales, and Ireland, it's very, 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 very cold. Okay, they're very north of us here. And so the animals would live in the thatch. And it would rain so hard that they would slip off the thatch. They would slip off the thatch and fall on the ground. You would see them slipping off the thatch. So the cliche said when it was raining really hard, it was raining cats and dogs because they'd be slipping off the thatch. See, this is how cliches start. Bringing home the bacon. Well, that cliche started in England too. You could tell somebody was of some wealth and worth and value because what they would have is they would have bacon drying out in front of their front door and the patio, salting it down if they had some salt, and they would dry that bacon and they would cook that bacon and let it hang there. And if you had bacon when you were in the 14th and 15th centuries, you were basically thought as somebody that was wealthy. You were bringing home the bacon. So the whole community would see that you were a person of wealth. And that's kind of where that cliche came from. So cliches help us understand things. What about somebody who brought home the bacon? That was J.P. Morgan Chase. He bought out Andrew Carnegie for what would equal $300 to $400 million of that time, which would be several billions and billions of dollars today. But Nelson is on. So in 1913, he decided to bring home the bacon a different way. And the way he brought home the bacon was he decided to create a fiat financial system. That is, tax Americans and create a Federal Reserve. He had to do both of those in order to get the wealth of America and control the wealth of America. And that's what he did. They created the Tax Reform Act. They bought the presidency. Woodrow Wilson was the president at the time, one of the worst traitorous presidents that I think ever was president of this country. He sold us out by at the last minute, at the holidays, ramming through like they're right now, where Congress and Senate is ending. They rammed through, because in those days, when people went home, it was quite a journey in 1913 and 17 to get home. You just didn't have, planes and freeways, and a lot of people still on horses and back roads. So a lot of the congressmen and the senators left for home early, especially the ones out west. And so they did a last-minute vote, which they didn't win. So the executive branch, Woodrow Wilson, signed an executive order to start the Tax Reform Act of 1913. It's an illegal act. It was never voted on by the states. It was an executive order that every president here thereafter has re-upped when it runs out of time. Every president. Okay, so that allowed the United States Treasury to tax you and me, the eons and eons of peons and peasants living in America. That's right. Unless you make a gajillion dollars a year, you're just a peasant. Saying hi to Sherry Maynard Wheeler. And hey, good to have you along, Sherry. All right, thanks a lot. We're talking about the real estate corner today and talking about hard money lending. I'm going to teach you some ways that if you need some money right now, I'm going to get you some money right now. I've got a way to do that if you have some sort of collateral, okay? So we'll talk about that. But first, I want to talk about how money is made, because it's important. Tax Reform Act, they started taxing all Americans at the time. Well, they had to do something with that money. The second part of what J.P. Morgan wanted to do was, and he was a Rothschild lieutenant, and the massive Rothschild world economic empire of banking, he needed to create a bank. Now, they tried to do that during Abraham Lincoln's time, and Abraham Lincoln said, no. You're going to not do that. Well, I'm going to develop the greenback, the $1 bill, and I'm going to give the states all the rights to print up as many dollar bills based on the gold and silver that they had in their coffers at the state level to be able to support their citizenry in their state. Rights to the people to control their money, based and backed by something very solid, gold or silver. They assassinated him for that. JFK tried to do that too as well. He wanted to revoke the executive order of the Federal Reserve, which we're going to talk about. And when he signed the bill to do that, they assassinated him for that. Andrew Jackson, the one president, which I think was a great president, because without Andrew Jackson, America would not be America today, from sea to shining sea. He had a lot of frailties, and he wasn't really a nice guy, but he used the media just like all presidents have used the media. And his similarities to modern day presidents are so similar. It's pretty unbelievable. But nevertheless, they tried to assassinate him 6 times because the powers of America, the corporations that were around at that time, the wealthy people, wanted to have an English type centralized bank system. And even though Jefferson did not want to have that, because if you were a Jeffersonian, you were anti-English banking system. He said that once a country, a government takes over the banking under a federalized banking, one bank system, tyranny starts and liberty ends. It's absolutely right. Saying hi to Actor Garrett. Actor Garrett's on. Thanks a lot, buddy. Good to have you. Haven't seen you in a while. So thanks a lot for having us on. So we're talking real estate today in the real estate corner, but we're specifically talking about money. And I'm going to show you a way that you can raise some money when you need some hard money. And it's not going down to the guys on the corner, you know. It's not going to one of, what do they say? It's not going to those guys. No way. No way, homie. No, it's not going to those guys. No. But it's a legal way. It's an legal way to raise money. Okay, quick and fast and efficient. So, J.P. Morgan created under Wilson the Tax Reform Act and the Federal Reserve. That's simple. So the Federal Reserve became, at the end of the day, when Wilson signed that bill at the end of his presidency, it became something that was so traitorous because what he did basically is he took the ability of printing currency out of the United States Treasury Department's hands. And that's given in our Constitution, that the Treasury Department be a separate entity. Okay? He took that ability to print and regulate money and currency and the monetary system of America out of the hands of the Treasury Department, which means it took it out of the hands of Congress, which means it took it out of the hands of you and me. J.P. Morgan wasn't a dumb guy. And they started taxing you and me, thereby creating hundreds of millions and billions of dollars more, now trillions of dollars, on the backs of the peons and eons of peons and peasants. The elitists and globalists and wealthy people still pay most of the taxes in this country. They do. It's a fact. I don't care what you see on news. I don't care what you see. The fact is, they pay most of the taxes in this country. This is why we're trying to get back the money that's being held around the world by the wealthy corporations because of the high tax that America charges wealthy corporations to do business in America. It's over 37% right now. In some cases, it's 45%. When you tag the state tax in there, it can be 50%. So President Trump, is wanting to push that tax bracket to get those trillions of dollars back into our system, our country. It's just logic. No matter what you get past the emotional hype, we need more money. Because without money, you ain't got no honey. It's that simple. You got to have money. Now, so the Federal Reserve System, which became the overseer of your money and mine, they were also given the right to create money out of thin air. Yep. In a nutshell, for every dollar a bank gets deposited into their bank by you or me, they're able to raise 10 times that amount. The Federal Reserve is able to print up 10 times that amount. So when a bank goes to the Federal Reserve and they have $1 billion and they deposit it at the Federal Reserve, the Federal Reserve then has the ability with the bank, and I'll go over the mathematics of this on another show. The Federal Reserve, just to say, the Federal Reserve and the bank have the ability to create 10 times that, and that goes back to the bank. So they've just created $9 billion out of nowhere. They take your money and they create 10 times the amount of it. And they don't got to be accountable for it. In fact, sometimes they don't even pay it back. They just create more money. Because the money, when our country was taken off the gold system and the silver system, The silver system was taken. A gold system was taken off. Then the silver system followed under Nixon, and the gold system was taken off, I think, by LBJ. I believe he took us off the gold. No, I'm sorry. FDR, a Democrat, took us off the gold system during World War II, promising to put us back on the gold system. And if you put your gold into the United States, you melted your gold rings and things down and gave it to the government, you got a gold certificate, which is supposed to give you the fair amount of gold back at the end of the war, which some people did trade the certificates in. That didn't just let their certificates go on, and the government never had to pay back that gold. So when FDR took us off the gold system, there was a lot of reason for that. It's a gold grab. And then Nixon took us off the silver system in the 70s. So when they took us off that system, then the Federal Reserve became the only way this country prints up and makes and raises money out of thin air. Now, I tell you that because it's really important to understand that the powers that run the economics and the banks of this country and the world, every country except in two, Iran and Korea, the powers that run that are all under the International Monetary Fund. That's the International Monetary Fund is the World Bank, and the World Bank runs all the Federal Reserves in all the countries. And the Federal Reserve of America is the strongest and most influential, the IMF. In other words, it gets what it wants. That's why America will never go bankrupt. It just never will. I've always said, so goes America, so goes the world. It'll never go bankrupt. Never. Never. Ever. Because so goes America's economy, so goes the world. China, Russia, everybody. Because America and the IMF is number one. Yeah, it's just that simple. So now you understand real basic how money is made, how it's created, how it came about taxes, and how it came about the Federal Reserve. So now we have a basic even point where we understand money. And it's important to understand money because when you go to borrow money to buy a house, and we're talking about real estate today, when you go to borrow money to buy a house, you are borrowing against something. Okay? What you're borrowing, you're probably putting down, most Americans will put down a very small down payment of 3.5%. Okay? And they'll borrow the rest of it. Most Americans will buy their first house with the FHA or VA, being insured by the United States government, you the taxpayer, insuring your neighbor. Because if your neighbor goes belly up and doesn't pay their mortgage, then the bank collects money from the government, which collected money by taxes and creating money out of thin air by the Federal Reserve to pay off the bank, which originally lent you the money. So the value of the property's gone up. Then the bank takes that property that you lost and sells it in the open market at a discount, but at a profit over and above the mortgage that they collected back on. Oh, it's good to be the one-eyed king in the land of the blind. And you, the taxpayer, bear the brunt of all of this. Do you think that's fair? Something wrong there. I've been practicing real estate for 40 years. I bought a lot of real estate in my career. I own real estate, a lot of real estate. It's the single best investment you can make. You can't make a better investment over time. It's not short term. Unless, Aunt Betty from Oklahoma leaves you a house, it's falling down, and you turn around and sell it because it's on 100 acres. Well, that's a fast return. But short of that, real estate is long term. Okay? It's the best single investments you can make. But understand that the banks that you borrow money from are actually being insured by your neighbor, and the rest of the citizens through taxes and the Federal Reserve. So just want you to understand how money and where it comes from. Because people often ask me, well, where does the bank get the money? Do they just get the money from all the depositors? No. No. In fact, they can't lend that money out. It's against federal law. That money, if they want to be insured by the FDIC and the United States government, that bank has to take that money and immediately send it to the Federal Reserve every day. They can't keep it. They have to keep a certain amount in their bank reserves, but it's a small amount compared to what they take in. So the money that you get is actually made up money. So it would be kind of cool if you could do that, wouldn't it be? See, the collateral that they're using now, not gold and silver, the collateral they're using is the American people. If you look at your dollar bill and you look at a dollar bill of 100 years ago, it says something different. It says U.S. Treasury note or a certificate. A note is a promise to pay you. A certificate is real money. A note is a promise. But if there's no money to pay, then how are you going to get paid? The Federal Reserve will just make up more money. Because they can. We'll never be without a Federal Reserve again. For all you people think you can get rid of the taxes and the Federal Reserve and you can argue it in court, forget it. Never happened. So, now we understand how money is loaned. See, when you buy real estate with low money down or any money down, you borrow money from the bank. And you then, hence, start paying a mortgage payment. And after 30 years, you pay that mortgage off if you don't refinance it. They want you to refinance it at least a couple of times during your lifetime because then you're enslaved and trapped forever. But who cares? You're enslaved and trapped forever anyway. Even if you pay off your house, you still don't own it. What? Yeah. It's not like a car. You still don't own it. Why? Because the United States of America, the state, the counties, and the cities can tax you for property tax. And then they can take your property and sell it after 5 years if you don't pay your property tax. And there's nothing you can do about it. And if you burn it down, you're going to go to jail. You don't own it. You may pay it off, but if you don't pay your property tax, you don't own it. You see. And where do you think that property tax money goes? It goes into the coffers of the city or the county or the state. And where do you think all that money goes? It goes to the Federal Reserve because they put it in a bank. And then what the state does is they borrow against it, just like the banks. And then they tax you too. Interesting. So, now, understand, why pay your house off? Go ahead and refinance it when the equity shoots up. Take some money out. Pay off your school debts. Pay off all your credit cards. Invest some money in some stocks, some very conservative 401ks. It's cheaper to do that than let it just roll in your bank. See, you get wealthy by buying real estate when you understand how money flows and who gets it. And that brief explanation that I just gave you hopefully focuses you and you begin to look at this in a different way. Used to be 100 years ago, used to be my grandma's generation, even in my mom and dad's generation. The idea was to pay the house off and turn it over to the kids. Come on. That's not the way it is anymore. Kids don't want to live there. Not in our me, myself, and I society that we're raising these next two generations in to be a bunch of self-righteous, indignant gluts that only care about themselves, that are really dumbed down because of our education, don't know anything. They don't want you to know anything Because if you know too much, then you can join the crowd above. And they don't want you to join the crowd above. They want you to stay right here. Eons and eons of peons and peasants and slaves that we all are. And your color makes no difference. We're all enslaved. Every single one of us. But I wouldn't want to live anywhere else in the world, that's for sure. Put me in slavery, America. It's the best form of slavery I've ever been in. And I've been around in 43 nations. So now you got this property. It goes up in equity. If you bought a property back in 2000, and today it has gone up, what? Twice dollars for a property in 2000. In 2018, that property is worth $600,000. I'm not lying. I ain't dying. And if you didn't tax it too much and you paid regularly on the mortgage, you got what, a $400,000 position of money. Woo! Wait a second. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Jesse T. Jesse, Mr. Sol Torrero. Wait a second. If you've been following me, wait a second. You're ahead of me right now, aren't you? If you've been following me, you're ahead of me. Jesse T, why did you spend 40 minutes talking about all that other stuff? To talk about this. If you bought a house in 2000, it's worth $600,000. In 18 years, you paid off 3/4 of it. So you only owe 100, maybe 75. Make it easy on my brain, 100. You got yourself a $700,000 equity position. Woo! Borrow against it. Act like the Federal Reserve. Act like the IRS. Your property becomes your bank, your Federal Reserve. Your property becomes your income gaining, tax creating piece of real dirt. Borrow against it. Go do something else with a couple $100,000. Set up your retirement for those of you who are independently employed. Buy some gold at $1,200 an ounce or silver at $17. That's the buy. Silver at $17 an ounce. You should be buying that up every month. I am. I've been buying gold too. Take $10,000 and dump it into Bitcoins, Ethereum coins, crypto economics, cryptocurrency. If you did that Sunday in Chicago on Monday morning, you would have made, on a $2,000 investment, you would have made $18,000 by the end of today. Take it out, cash it out. Buy another piece of property. Pay off your debt. Go on a vacation. Use your house as a bank. Like the Federal Reserve creates money out of nowhere, you can too. And I don't really care what your credit is like. I don't even care if you have a job. Okay? If you want to refinance a property that's worth $700,000 and you only got $100,000 on it, the kind of job you have to have isn't what you think. Because they want you to take more money. Because they never want it paid off. Just be smart how much you take. Don't take beyond your means. Or don't take beyond that property can gain for you in income. Or take all the money, refinance as much as you can, and walk away. You walk away from your loan, you're going to have to answer a lot of questions. But a lot of people do that. It's not stealing. It's interest money. You're paying for it. But I guarantee you, if you do that, the banks are going to come at you for civil lawsuits and maybe some criminality in there. So I think twice about that one. But use your bank. Use your bank called your house. Now, if you don't have a piece of property, you're out of luck. You need to get one. It's that simple. You need to get some property. I talk to a lot of actors, and they're all so focused on their craft. What they should be focused on is getting an education, making some money, and working their craft as well. Have two things going on so that they can create a $60,000 a year income for themselves while they're single and free with no kids or family, while they're chasing after their craft and their dream, and they aren't living in the back of their car. Because it's going to take 15 years to make it as an actor anyway. Maybe 20. It doesn't happen overnight. So you might as well invest in something right. So 15 years down the road, you can be like the example I said. You can take some money out and make your own film. I hope you're learning something here. Because we're going to talk about hard money. And hard money is a glorious thing. Because in hard money, you don't need to have all of the parameters of qualifying. There are some federal things we have to follow, of course, law. But in hard money, saying hi to Paul, Patty Reel, saying hi to Malia Burnell, Sherry Maynard Wheeler, Harry Bud Nelson, Mono French Restaurant. Where you guys been, Mono? Saying hi to and Promotions. Thanks a lot, guys, for checking in with us. It's the Jesse T Show. Every Monday we talk real estate, we talk loans, we talk how to make some money down on the real estate corner with yours truly, your trusted advisor. For over 40 years as a real estate agent first and then a broker over the last 30 years here in California, as well as a loan specialist. And I purchased lots of property myself. I've won, I've failed, I've done it all, up and down, inside and out, in every circle you can be in. So we're talking real estate down on the real estate corner. And I'm trying to talk to you straight, trying to talk to you in the real way, to let you know there are some things you can do to better your position in life. So, let's talk about hard money. That's why it's so important to buy just one piece of real estate. Hey, it doesn't have to be in DTLA, downtown LA. No, it can be in Bakersfield. It doesn't have to be in Encino or Brentwood. And I'm a flatlander. The fires scare me, and fires always seem to happen in mountains. I'm a flatlander. My property's all in the flatland with the exception of one property. But there ain't nobody around, and it's only got one structure on there. If it burns, baby. Burn, baby, burn. But I tell you, the pain and heartache that people are going through now, I would never live on a hillside anywhere in California. I just wouldn't do it. Just wouldn't do it. You can't replace pictures. You can replace the structure, but not pictures. That's just the way I think, me, Jesse T. But anyhow, buy a piece of real estate. It can be in Pacoima, a condo. It's the same thing. And if you don't want to live there, you can rent it out. And it will gain the same amount of equity. Hard money. Hard money doesn't mean that it's free money. It's hard money for a reason, because the money costs you. But it serves a purpose, and here's why. Oftentimes, people find themselves in a position where they need some money and perhaps they can't qualify. They beat themselves up so bad economically and financially that they just can't qualify unless they have a huge equity position in their property. And if they don't, they just have a hard time. But they need money for family medical emergencies, pay off bills, take care of some business, or what have you. They need the money. Okay? And so hard money is a little different. We don't care about your credit rating. We don't care about your tax returns. We don't care about your care about how much money you have in the bank. We don't care about whether you're black, brown, blue, pink, green, purple, or anything. We don't care about whether you're old, young, 18 or over, whether you are from this country or not. We don't care. We only care about a few things, and that is, do you have something to collateralize the money you want? Our minimum is $50,000. So the only thing we have that we accept, and most hard money lenders, is real property collateralization. In other words, you have to have a piece of property. And it has to have some equity in it somewhere. And we'll take you up to a 65% loan to value. That means how much loan you have based on the value. And with the escalating values right now, that has opened up that equity base much larger. Okay? Hard money is very popular right now because we can get you that money in 7 to 10 days. 7 to 10 days. With a very basic loan application, a copy of your last payment mortgage statement, declaration of insurance, a certificate of authority and authorization so that we can run your loan, an explanation letter of what you're going to use the money for. On the loan application, you'll tell us how much you make, where the property is located, and with an appraisal, we can get you some hard money. If you have a first on there, we take the first and we combine it with whatever you want. So let's say you have a property, the same scenario, $700,000, you have $100,000 on it, but you need some hard money right now. You need $100,000. So we're going to take that 100 plus 100, add 200, and we're going to do a new first trust deed mortgage collateralized by the equity, collateralized by the real property, well under 65% to loan value. And then what we're going to do is give you a balloon payment, probably with 3 years of interest-only payments. And then at the end of that, what we're going to do is around 6 months out, we're going to refinance you so that you can pay off your balloon. And now you have a regular mortgage for the next 30 years, or 15 if you want such. Fixed interest, amortized. What a plan. What a plan. Poof. Money out of thin air. See, this is why it's so important to buy a piece of real estate. Even if you buy it in San Bernardino, the most god-awful place in the world to live. Even if you buy it in North Hollywood, even if you buy it in Anaheim, even if you buy it in Fresno, Sacramento, San Diego, San Jose, Wasco, we can still do it. Owning a piece of real estate with a structure on it is real important. Not only just a piece of land. Because when you own a piece of land, to get value on it, you have to improve the structure of the land in some way. Then the value goes up, and that can be very expensive. That's a game for experienced people. Saying hi to R.D. Torrero, who has us on. Oh, yeah. R.D. Torrero, coach over at Pepperdine University. They took the WCC this year. She's a goalkeeper coach. And she did a fantastic job. So proud of her. Oh, yeah, that's my daughter. I'm proud of her. And she's still a professional soccer player, goalkeeper. Just terrific. So you see, owning a piece of real estate, the first chance you can muster up and get it, it's the best sacrifice you can make in your life. Because in time, it gives you the things you need in order to get wealthier and wealthier faster. That's the key. How fast can you do it? And within 10 years, you could feasibly, if you follow a plan that I have for everybody, everybody's plan is a little bit different. We can help you. I can help you put together 5 to 10 properties, maybe more. But you've got to follow the plan. You know how that is. So there you go, guys. Down on the real estate corner with yours truly, Jesse T. Hard money's the way to go. You may want to check out our website at www.jessetorreroMrSold.com. Also, check us out on Facebook at facebook.com/Jesse Torrero Broker. And you can give us a call on our real estate hotline at 818-805-4400. If you want some help buying, selling, investing, you want some help getting a loan, we have lots of lenders that are there available for you right now. If you need some help in any kind of land development, commercial, industrial, single-family real estate, we can help you there as well. Once again, the number is 818-805-4400. If you want to learn how to sell your house yourself and you don't want to use a broker like myself because you feel you can do better, hey, no problem. Check out our website at www.jessetorreromrsold.com. I've got 7 different ways, the things you're going to have to do to help you sell your house yourself. And then when you get frustrated and stuff, you can come back to me. Hey, man, I'm fair. I'm easy. What do you say? I'm cheap and easy, baby. That's right. Also, check out facebook.com/Jesse Torrero Broker, because I post up a lot of stuff about Bitcoins. You might want to check out the stuff that's happening right there about Bitcoins. You can also go to our website at facebook.com/Jesse Torrero. So down on the real estate corner with me, Jesse T, Jesse Mr. Soul Torrero. Good to have you along with me. Every Monday we talk the talk and we walk the walk. Now, I just want to tell you what happened to me this weekend. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. Wow, wow, wow. Yes, RD Torrero, that's right. It tripled today. Litecoin is going crazy. Take $25 and buy one. Okay? Ethereum has slowed down. Bitcoin was insane today. It's unbelievable. So get into it. Get in and out. Get in and out. That's how you protect. Don't get in and hold. Get in, get out. Get in, get out. Let it grow, let it grow, let it grow, but then pull out. Don't leave it in there, okay, because it's very volatile right now. In and out, like a jab. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah, right? Okay. Spartan Warrior this weekend. I did a 5-mile course, placed 13th in my age group. 21 obstacles. I hit 14 of them and failed on 7, but I attempted them. I was real happy with my time. It was just terrific out there at Castaic Dam. I'd like to thank Jesse Andrew Torrero for helping me out. Ryan Danielle Torrero gave me inspiration. Mama T was out there, and we were just having a good time. And I'll tell you, it made me go through some thresholds I haven't been through in 30-plus years. Made me push that wall. I hit the wall. Major. But, hey, got that medal. Got that medal, baby. Finished it. The Spartan race. It was just absolutely terrific. Yeah, baby, check that out. Right there. Right there. You like that? Is that just wicked? Wicked cool? Is that wicked cool? That's right, man. It was just so fun. It was one of the funnest things I've done in my life ever. It was just terrific. And I got clarity up there on the trail. Just got clarity. Just a beautiful, beautiful thing. All right, so I just want to chat a little bit about that. I'll probably talk more about it here as time goes on. Hey, I'm doing another one, that's for sure. It's the Jesse T Show. Every Monday we talk real estate down on the corner, the Real Estate Corner with Jesse, Mr. Sol Torrero. You have a great weekend. Don't forget about those numbers. When I mean weekend, I mean next week. I'm already looking at next weekend because I'm going to be racing again. Yeah. Have a great week. 805-4400, area code 818. Give us a call. www.jessetorrero.com. Jesse Torrero /broker on Facebook. All right, we'll talk to you later. Hey, you're in the piece of real estate. Give me a call. Sell one. I'll help you out. The Brown Beauty's off duty. See ya.